Hi, welcome to Roy's Game Table. Today we have Aeon's and Outcasts unboxing. So pull up a chair and let's see what's inside the box. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the box. And the first thing that we see here is a rule book, the Aeon's and Outcasts rule book. It does tell you there are some new rules. If you are familiar with Aeon's End, check out the following sections in the yellow boxes. So there's going to be a curse deck, simultaneous effects, wandering, and then additionally at the end of chapter 1, you'll unlock a new ally to protect instead of Gravehold. So when you open envelope 1D, read the back of the enclosed mat for all the rules involved with that new ally. So some information there, and then you can see the rule book. And a lot of pictures to help you through, if it's the first time playing, to give you a look and see, not just telling you what to do, but look and see. It looks like a decent rule book there. Okay. And then we have End of Expedition rule book. It just gives you information. Expedition is kind of like a campaign mode now for Aeon's End. It started with Aeon's End, the New Age, and it's continuing on through Aeon's End Outcasts. So we have an expedition rule book to help you when you're at that point. And then we got a narrative booklet here, front and back. I'm not going to show you anything inside to risk spoilers for the narrative, so you can figure that, you can discover that on your own. But we do have a narrative booklet this time. And then here's the stop sheet. Usually the Aeon's End games come with this to get you into your first game. It gives you, tells you which of the heroes you should choose if you want to start your first game. And so these are the 4 here that it recommends for that, and then the market that it recommends. And so that is going to be under the Stop 1A, and we will look at these just to show them off because this would be your first game, okay? And then it shows you the villain that you're going to face on this side, or the nemesis that you're going to face on this side, Experiment 153. So that is our stock card. And then we have the top of that nemesis here, the top of that nemesis board. Some punch outs. And I did, when I backed the Kickstarter, I got some of the expansions. So I got Return to Gravehold, and then Southern Village. Some new dials, a new dial for the Nemesis, pretty cool. If you want to use this one instead of some of the other dials. And also, obviously, it's supposed to be for that game. And then it looks like we have the Gravehold dial, or it could be used for anything, really. Some punch outs, and it looks like I'm missing one already. I don't know what happened to that. I hope it's in the box somewhere, unless it just doesn't come with that one. But it looks like it's a Surge token. And let's see, this is, okay, there's that. Looks like maybe for one of the Nemesis. Okay, so we got something here too. Looks like it may be, it's a top section while the Fortress token is on this section of the track. When a player deals damage to it, that player deals 1 additional damage. Okay, then it looks like we have the mages that come in Aeon's End Outcast. We have, first of all, we have Karen here, I guess is how you pronounce her name. Energize, activate during your main phase, gain a spell that costs 5 or less from a supply pile. You may lose 2 charges to gain any spell from a supply pile instead. And you may lose a charge to prep a spell in your discard pile to one of your opened breaches. And it looks like, so she has different colors here for her charges on both sides. So that's interesting. And then, of course, she has some flavor text on the back of that. And then we have Ohat and Olgamore, so a returning one from I think he was from War Eternal. Enrapture, activate during your main phase. Ohat mode, suffer 2 damage. Any ally draws 5 cards and discards 2 cards in hand. And in Olgamore mode, cast the spell prep to Olgamore's 4 breach without discarding it. Okay, and then we have one of the Nemesis, Burrower, an Unleash effect. Destroy the top card of any supply pile. If the supply pile has no cards in it, any player discards a card in hand instead. And he has 80 health to start with and some additional rules there that you can read on your own if you'd like. Okay, and then some of the setup rules. And then we have Fortress. And this, one of the boards that we saw goes with this one, I think. Unleash, move the Fortress token forward 1 space on the Fortress track. And this one has 90 health and some additional rules there that you can see. And you can pause to read that. Here's his setup abilities. Place a Fortress token or Fortress track next to this mat. You can see the abilities there, the setup. All right, then we have some more mages here. Wrath, I'm going to do the best I can with these names. Wrath, missing half. Activate during your main phase. Reveal your deck. Place up to 2 spells with the same name from your deck into your hand. And up to 2 spells with that same name from your discard into your hand. Return your deck in the same order. Okay, interesting. Then we have Lucian. Magnetism. Activate during your casting phase. Open all of your breaches. Prep any number of spells in hand to your open breaches. Okay. And then we have another nemesis. Unleash. Place 2 embers on the burning core movement mat at a single random ignition point. Okay, and then he has some additional rules there that you can pause and read if you'd like. And then he has his setup ability here. All right, and then we have some tokens, looks like for him, and some other tokens. And we got an Olgamore token. That's the one you can flip. So OHAT mode, we saw that earlier, and Olgamore mode. All right, and then just a couple of dividers that got stuck in there. And then Zahana, we remember her from one of the expansions early on. And Inscribe, activate during any player's main phase. Gravehold gains 5 life. Place 2 glyph tokens on top of any card in the supply pile, okay, or in the supply. So Zahana, and then Tok'ran, he came in Aeon's End, the New Age, I believe. And Sustain, activate during your main phase. If you are not exhausted, gain 3 life. Otherwise, Gravehold gains 3 life. So he can still heal something even if exhausted. And he looks like he has some abilities over here. This one, any ally draws a card. Over here, focus your closed breach with the lowest focus cost. And then down here, gain 1 charge. And over here, prep a spell in hand to one of your opened or closed breaches. Okay? And then we have Kel. Soul Invigoration. Return up to 2 gems or relics you played this turn to your hand. Any ally draws a card and may prep a spell in hand to an opened or closed breach. And so being able to return a card to hand is pretty cool. And she'll let you do that. Then you have Ilya. Life Embrace. Activate during your main phase. Cast all of your prepped spells without discarding them. Any ally returns a card in their discard pile to their hand. And then Experiment 153, which was on the mat that we saw. Or it was on the starter stop page. And Unleash, move any Maw token 2 spaces forward toward the end of its track. And he has something that goes on the top here that we saw earlier. And so you see some additional rules for him. You can pause and read those if you'd like. And then his setup abilities. Okay, and then we just have some breaches. And looks like we have some dividers here. More breaches. More breaches. Okay, and then we got some envelopes, which I'm not going to open. So, and we got a 4-sided die even in this set. Okay, so now let me look and see what cards I want to show you. Okay, so we have a gem here, Quicken and Q-Tite, or Kitite, gain 2. You may discard a card in hand. If you do, focus any players to breach. All right, and you get 7 of those as normal with gems. And then we have Jeweled Europe. gain 3, or if this is the second time you have played Jeweled this turn, you may destroy this. If you do, gain a card from any supply pile that costs 7 or less. Okay, an interesting way to be able to use that. All right, and then we have a Relic, Cat's Eye. You cannot gain this card. If you have gained another card this turn, you cannot gain any other cards the turn you gained this. So gain 1 charge, you may destroy this. If you do, gain 1 ether, or aether, however you want to pronounce that. So 5 of those. Another Relic, Volt Replicator. Any ally gains a card that costs 5 or less. If there are 2 or fewer Volt Replicators in the supply, you may destroy this. If you do, place the gain card in that ally's hand instead. All right. And then we have Energized Conduit. And it's a 7. So you attach this to any player's breach, and when a spell is cast from this breach, the player who casts that spell gains 1 charge. All right. And now we got some spells here. Flame Jab, deal 2 damage to a minion. You may destroy this. If you do, gain 1. Aether. Gathering Winds, deal 2 damage. If there are 6 or more other cards in your discard pile, focus any player's breach. Cinder Shower, while prepped, when you gain a card, deal 1 damage, or you can cast it and deal 3 damage. Reaper's Flame is a spell. While prepped, once per turn, when you cast another spell, you may gain a card that costs 5 aether or less from any supply pile. You can also cast it for 5 damage. All right. Another spell, Erasure of Mind. Cast, destroy a card in hand that costs 3 or more. If you do, deal 10 damage, or cast, deal 5 damage, reveal the top 2 cards of your deck and place any number on top of your discard pile. Okay, an expensive one though at 7. And this is a mage starter card for Lucian. Sun Shard, gain 1 or gain 3. They can only be used to open a breach. And then we have Fossilized Rose. This is for Reth. One of her starter cards. Cast, discard a card in hand. If you do, gain a spell that costs 5 or less from any supply pile, or cast, deal 1 damage. Okay. And then we have some treasures that you can get. Inko Spreading Emerald. Gain 1, or the next time you gain a card that costs 3 or less this turn, any ally gains a copy of that card from the supply. This is, the treasures are something you can get in the expedition mode. So that's what this one is. And then Lost Forged Crystal. Gain 2. When the game starts, add a crystal to your discard pile. All right, Onyx Elixir. This is a treasure level 2. At the start of the game, set this next to a supply pile that costs 7 or more. And when a player gains a card from that supply pile, that player gains 2 life. And again, this is a treasure you can get at some point in, if you're playing expedition mode. Ashen Rib. Also a level 2. Once per turn, after a player plays their second relic, any ally draws a card. Then Massacre Helm. When you cast 3 or more spells during your casting phase, deal 3 damage. Okay, Cloak of Wisdom. At the start of your main phase, if there are 5 or more cards in your discard pile, focus one of your closed breaches. And then some movement instructions if you're playing the Burning Core, that nemesis we looked at briefly. And then just some of his cards. I won't go too much into that. Let you discover those on your own, but he has some of his cards here. And this is Lucian Water Weaver, and this is a mage randomizer. So like if you want to do an expedition mode and you just want to randomize your mages, you can use this card to help you randomize a mage. As you can see there, mage randomizer. And then Reth, it's the same thing. That's her mage randomizer card. Burning Core, this is also a nemesis randomizer for Battle 4 if you're going to do an expedition mode. So you can get him randomly and you can shuffle him in with other Battle 4 nemesis from, it could just be a number of them from other sets that have these randomizers or whatever, and and then you pick one. So he would go in Battle 4 of an expedition. And then you just have the actual randomizers for the market right here. We've already looked at those cards. Okay, on to some more cards. A relic. Destroy this. You can gain one or destroy this and any number of copies of this card in hand. You may gain a card with cost up to 3 times the number of copies destroyed. And it's only 1 to purchase this. So you get 5 of those. And then you get another spell here. Cleanse. Cast, deal 3 damage. If you have 3 or less life, gain 1 life. Okay. And that's a cost of 4. And then we have a cost of 6 spell. Memory Break. Deal 3 damage. You may destroy a card in hand. If you do, deal additional damage equal to the cost of the destroyed card. And then we have Invigorate. And it looks like this is going to be a starter card for Kierna. So Invigorate, cast, deal 1 damage, or cast, return a spell in your discard pile to your hand. And then we have the starter card for Ohat and Olgamore. Shower of Coals. If you're in Ohat mode, you cast, suffer 1 damage, and gain 2 Aether. Or if you're in Olgamore mode, cast, deal 3 damage, depending on your mode there again. All right, we got some treasured gems. Again, these are treasures that you can earn if you're playing in expedition mode. You can get Claudia's Aether Scope, gain 1 Aether, or any ally may lose 1 charge. If they do, gain 2 charges. Soskel's Lucky Coin, gain 1 Aether. You may lose 1 charge. If you do, gain an additional 2 Aether. Q's Void Radite, gain 1, and you may cast any player's prepped spell. That spell deals 1 less damage to a minimum of 1. You can get Tokrin's Gift of Spirit. It's a treasured spell. Deal 1 damage or any ally draws a card. Geiger's Tsunami. Deal 1 damage. You may lose 1 charge. If you do, deal 3 additional damage. And then we have level 2 treasures. After a player finishes resolving their ability, any ally draws a card. Another level 2 at the start of the game. Set this next to a gem supply pile. When a player gains a card from that supply pile, that player gains 1 charge. Okay, that was a Sparking Shards. And the one before that was an Energized Husk. And this is Sigil Pendant. So once per turn during any player's main phase, that player may spend 3 Aether to have each player gain a charge. And then now we have a level 3 treasure, Horn of Plenty. Draw 2 cards from the level 1 treasure deck and add them to the barracks. Add 2 additional level 1 treasures to your starting deck using the level 1 treasure rules, okay? Imbued Circlet. When you gain a gem, Gravehold gains 1 life. This can cause Gravehold to have more than its maximum life. So a good way to help keep Gravehold alive, you want to choose that as a treasure when you get to level 3. Bursting Bracelet. When you focus or open a breach, you may cast any player's prepped spell. That spell deals 1 additional damage. And then we have some traps for the Burrower. So I'll just... there's a bunch of those. They're all Landslide Trap. So I guess I'll just read what that is. If I go ahead and do that. It's if this was revealed during the Nemesis turn, Gravehold suffers 5 damage. All right, and here's some more traps for the Burrower. It's a Pit Trap. If this was revealed during the Nemesis' turn, any player suffers 4 damage. And there are a lot of these as well, just like with the Landside Trap. Let's see here. Yeah, it looks like all of them. And then just the Nemesis cards for the Burrower. I won't go through those. Don't want to spoil too much of the cards that'll be in the Burrower's deck. And we also have for the Fortress here. Okay. And now we have the Mage Randomizer for Kierna. Again, if you want to play, just do a Mage at random for an Expedition mode. There you could put her in. And Ohat and Olgamore. That's their randomizer, put them in. Here's the randomizer for the Expedition mode if you want to do Fortress, and he is a Nemesis Battle 2. So again, when you get to Battle 2 of the Expedition, this could be one of your options. It could be Fortress. Or the Burrower, Nemesis Battle 4. So you can put this in with the one we saw earlier, or with any other Battle 4 Nemesis, because as you see, they can have different numbers, different battles that you can fight them in the Expedition. So the Fortress you would fight at Battle 2, possibly, and the burrower you would fight at battle 4 possibly if it came up as the random one in your expedition. Okay, and then we just have the randomizer cards for some of the market cards we've looked at. All right, and some more gems. Coruscating Sapele. Gain 2 Aether. You may lose 1 charge. If you do, gain an additional charge. So there's a gem for you. And then now we have a Spell Force Catalyst. While prepped during your main phase, you may spend 3 Aether to cast any player's prepped spell or cast this, deal 3 damage. All right, so there's a spell. Humming Shell. Destroy up to 2 cards in hand or discard pile or gain 2 charges. But it's a cost of 7 there, and as you can see, it's a relic. And those are just the randomizer cards for the things we've looked at. Here's some more treasures. Sala's Black Meteorite, gain 1 or gain 3. They can only be used to focus or open your 4 breach. Nook's Mystic Flourish, gain 1 or cast a spell, or gain 1. Cast a spell in your hand. If that spell costs 1 or more, return that spell to its supply pile. Gain a spell from any supply pile that costs less than the cast spell and gain 1 charge. All right, and then a level 2 treasure, Ritual Staff. When a player gains a card that costs 7 or more, add a power token to this card. At the start of the Nemesis turn, if the Nemesis has exactly 1 turn order card in the turn order discard pile, the Nemesis suffers damage equal to the number of tokens on this card. So nice, a nice way to do some passive damage to the Nemesis, it looks like. Okay, Crown of Fangs, another level 2 treasure. At the start of the game, set this next to a spell supply pile that costs 6 or more. These cards cost players 1 less Aether to gain. A level 3 treasure. At the end of your draw phase, if the total cost of gems and relics in your hand is 7 or more, draw a card. That's ever full purse. Arcane Timepiece. At the start of your first turn of the game, gain 2 charges. Once per game, when the Nemesis turn order card is drawn, you may lose 4 charges. If you do, skip the Nemesis turn. And then Boots of Arcane Quickening. At the start of your first turn of the game, gain 4 Aether that can only be used to gain a spell. All right, and then we have some upgraded basics for the attacks and for the Nemesis. I don't want to spoil the Nemesis for some reason, so I'm not going to do that, or I don't want to spoil any of these. So, all right, I do have some more cards here that I haven't shown you, but as you can see, they have the stop 1A number on them, or they have a stop something, like stop 1B, stop 1C. So I don't want to spoil anything that has the stop on it. I want you to be able to see them for yourself if you've purchased the game. But I did want to show you the ones that didn't have any of the stop on it. And that'll do it for the Aeon's End Outcast unboxing. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please consider to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell, because I will eventually be doing some playthroughs of the content that was in this box. And I may even go through an expedition mode, I don't know, but I will be doing some playthroughs at some point with this box of Aeon's End Outcast. So make sure you hit the notification bell to be ready for that. And until those times come, I'll save you a seat at the table. Thank you for watching. Bye.